Hey chat, my name's John, lead maintainer of Latterly.io. That's an open source platform that'll help you learn to code, land your first or next programming role, and grow your social and professional networks. Today we're coding. We're going to build a book marketing site. And this is a great project that you can build because you can make a book. You can just write a book. It can be a little children's book, a little 10-page book, or I'll be writing a novel. It's a sci-fi fantasy novel co-writing with my wife. And so then we want to market that book and we want to collect a wait list of email addresses. There are some off-the-shelf things that you can use for this, but I like to build my own. So this is the repository where we will build a book marketing site. It's going to be based in Node.js and deployed over Vercel. I'm going to use Supabase, and I'll be using a micro database instance. That's the smallest size available if you have Supabase like the paid accounts. I think you can get a free one if it's your first database. They have like a free tier, and it spins down if it's not used and stuff. But for a database that's always on, it's always warm, it's always ready to accept email signups, then this micro is going to be the smallest they allow. So this might be a reason that you don't want to use my repository, is if you don't want to pay about $10 a month for the database. So if you're looking for a fully free option, then you might look at someone else's starter, or you can roll your own. Or you could use the starter, again, in conjunction with the Supabase free tier, and be mindful of those caveats that apply, that if the website hasn't been logged into in a while or whatever, there's going to be a cold start latency. So if you're cool with that, then you're good to go. All right, so you can see that I'm going to create this database. Now I'll pull it off screen so I don't reveal anything. And generate that password. I'll copy it over here, create that project. And we got cursor going. I'll be using Codex. And here I want to jot down my password. Oh, I lost my shared screen. Shared screen. Cool. Okay, on YouTube, you should be able to see the shared screen. Sorry about that. Restream is dropping the screen recently for some reason. Okay, so the Supabase database is spinning up currently, and that'll take some time, but that's okay. So we want to go clone this repository anyway. So I got cursor. And as I said, I have Codex here. For an AI assistant, I don't have Claude. And the reason is really simple. I actually prefer Claude, but it's not on this computer. And the reason is really simple. Well, I have it installed, but it doesn't work. The reason is really simple. I don't want to pay for ChatGPT Pro and Anthropic Pro or Max or whatever. I don't want to pay for both. So I actually think Claude Code is the better AI assistant. And if you don't mind paying for both, cool. But I'm already paying for ChatGPT because I like their chat interface in the web browser. And then I sort of get the Codex for free. And so personally, I go for that. And then, for work or whatever, I currently prefer Claude. But that's basically the reason that I'm using Codex here. So don't read too much into it. It's not like Codex is the best in the world, but that's the one that I'll be using. All right, so I'll clone into my workspace. I've got this book marketing over here. And let's see, I can immediately kick off with Codex, but I want to go Supabase first. That's going to be the trick here. So I'm actually going to go to the Supabase docs. Instead of an agent first implementation, I want a Supabase first implementation. And the main reason for that is that I want to collect marketing emails. So you could do this in a NoSQL way. This is like not a course in system design. I think Supabase strikes the right balance, and Postgres strike a good balance between structured data collection and operational effectiveness, and basically they strike a good balance there, and pricing and stuff like that. So if in a world where you have everything for free and maybe you could go get Dynamo or something, there are cases where all of those might be better. But I would not jump into a major cloud provider like AWS and Dynamo if I were a novice and I was just getting started. I think the Supabase Vercel stack, GitHub Supabase Vercel, is going to be much more beginner friendly and forgiving than AWS. So we talk about the AWS free tier, but for many people it's a trap, because as soon as you roll over that free tier, the cost can spike incredibly fast. And so with a Supabase free tier, it's a true free tier that if you exceed your limit, they don't charge you anything. They just shut your access down. And I actually prefer that. There's ways you can get that implemented in the major cloud providers, but it takes work and know-how. And so I advise people to start with this Vercel Supabase GitHub stack, or maybe a Netlify. Do you work for Supabase? No, I just like them. And I don't work for GitHub and I don't work for Vercel. So, if I'm going on and on about how great they are, it's not because they pay me. It's not because I work for them. Nothing like that. It seems like an ad. No, it's not an ad, bro. If anything, I'm going to give you an ad for Latterly.io. This is the open source website, and you can sign up for free. And so this is like my thing that I would shill. But it's built with Supabase. It's built with GitHub. It's built with Vercel. So everything that I'm preaching is stuff that I do. Okay. So what am I doing over here? Supabase docs. I want to get to the CLI. Maybe I should just look for Supabase CLI. There's going to be a Docker container. And actually, it might already be installed. I should double check on that, eh? This is Supabase version. Yeah, I don't have it. Okay. Some comments were filtered from the live. Hey, yo, what are you saying over there? Throw some likes on the video. Thanks so much for being here. If you throw some likes on the video, the algorithm will send it around. That'd be super helpful. Yeah, I want this stuff, the Supabase login and everything. Okay. Saying nothing bad. Okay. Yeah, sometimes the filter gets crazy, Sorry about that. I'm not trying to... It's not like I have a bunch of stuff set up or whatever. Can you explain what you're doing? I'm making a marketing site for a book. So I'm writing a book and I want to be able to collect emails for a wait list. So I'm making a website for that. Does that make sense? I think this is a really great project that pretty much anyone can implement, is a marketing site to collect emails for anything. It doesn't have to be a book. I think a book is pretty simple. Like, you can make it as a digital good. You can deliver it digitally. You can do a recipe book. But it doesn't have to be a book at all. It could be music, right? Events. If you want to just have a meetup at your coffee shop in your hometown, you can do a wait list for that. You can say, hey, like, whenever enough people sign up, we'll throw it, Do you use Claude Code? I just went over a long conversation about why I'm using Codex instead of Claude Code. The short answer is that I love Claude Code, but I don't have it on this computer for cost reasons. So on this computer, I'm using Codex, but in general, I prefer Claude, yeah. Okay, so hold on. Sam, quiet down, please. Okay, all right, go to your room. You shouldn't be putting your hands on your sister. Kids are wrestling in the living room. So npm install Supabase save dev. This would do it locally, but I want the Docker container. Hey, Ellie, what are you doing? Get away from him. Go over there. Docker desktop. I have Docker desktop. Let's see. Is it running? Are you still working on Latterly? Yeah, 100%. That's how I used to be when I was younger. Yeah, it's all good. And my screen share dropped again. This has really been bugging me lately. We're going to share, let's see, screen 2. Yeah, that's the right one. Okay, so we got Docker running, and it's going to have the Supabase container. npx Supabase. Yeah, I think npx is going to be the smart way to do this. So npx Supabase init to create a new local project. Let's do that. npx Supabase, and I don't want to do that inside the workspace. So cd to book marketing npx Supabase init. Need to install that? Yeah, that's great. Cool. Is that Madi? Did I say that right? Welcome in. Thanks for being here. So did you have a question about Laterally? Feel free to drop it if you want. So it's making this folder called Supabase over here. And it makes a git ignore, it makes a temp file. That's okay. We can stage that. Let me collapse a bunch of these. So here's the one we'll keep open. I'll stage this. We'll just commit straight to main for now. It's not, I like to get maybe 50 to 100 commits deep on main before I bother doing feature branches. So really this is a chore. Supa init git push on that. Okay, so do I trigger codecs yet? I could. I'd like to give it the opinion to use Next.js. So I like to go for these command line tools that have the latest deterministic stuff that might not be in the AI training data. That's why I do this stuff first. Does that make sense? So we're going to go use the Next.js install, whatever. I think it's on the React website too. Create React app is deprecated. And so you just want to create with the Next.js starter now. Installation. So this latest version for Next.js could be over the training window of codecs, which is why I'm doing this first. Create next app latest. Yeah, I want this bad boy. So we're basically getting the foundation in place, and then I'll let AI enhance it from there. Instead of AI driving the core architecture. Yeah, you can install that. Create next app 16. Will this just be the UI? This is going to be the full stack, so I'll call it book marketing. Book marketing. But I could just call it app, really. I'm just going to call it app. Would you like to use the recommended Next.js defaults? Yes, please. And we got TypeScript, Tailwind, let's go. React DOM, we love it. I love that they're shipping Tailwind as a default dependency now. I'm a Tailwind geek, not gonna lie. To simp is divine. ESLint, and it's configured with Next. They don't have prettier in here, so I'm gonna want to add prettier. Okay, and let me double check that thing here. So under book marketing, it's just called app. That makes sense to me. I don't need to call it book marketing app because there's only one app in book marketing. So it looks good to me. So I'm going to stage this. This is another chore. This is init next 16. Oh, what is my node version? Okay, I'm using 22. All right, that's fine. That's fine. I could go up to 24, but I don't care. What's the fundamental difference between React.js versus Next.js? React.js is a UI rendering library. Next.js is a full stack framework. So it's library versus framework. All right, let's go to JS Paint. Oop, JS Paint. Okay, so here is React.js. And here is Next.js. So this is a UI library. It's unopinionated. And it is a tool, not a stack. Okay, this is a full stack framework. That means it is highly opinionated. It is a stack, a collection of tools. All right. And this key thing is this framework bit. So a framework contains all the necessary type shit to build an app. Okay. That is the key difference. It's also really interesting that it's full stack. And there's a bunch of low-level differences. So I won't get into the low-level differences. There's like use state and stuff. Use state, use context. All right, so there's low-level differences, but at the high level, yo, my screen keeps dropping the share. This is such a bummer. Restream, get it together, buddy. At the high level, React is just the part that compiles the HTML. Literally, what's going on? It just did it back to back. Restream is sharing your screen. I know. That's totally okay. That's the whole intent. Is it going to stay up? 1, 2, 3. It stayed up. God bless. Did that make sense? Thanks for the question. Throw some likes on the video if that made sense. So we don't just want to paint a UI. We're not just doing front end. We want to do full stack, and we want database connectors. So Next.js is going to let us have auth, DB connectors, interop with, or maybe interop is too technical. I don't know your level, sorry, but interop connectors for all kinds of stuff. So React is going to be inside of Next.js, and this is going to let us connect to the database, which is really, really critical. Remember, the whole thing we're doing with this marketing, or not the whole thing, but the first thing is collecting email addresses for a wait list. That needs to be saved in a database. The UI alone is not going to get you there, right? Someone can save data in the UI. They can save an email address to local storage, but that doesn't help me as the data collector. I also want to do like marketing metrics and Google Analytics and stuff like that. You can do Google Analytics in the UI, so that's less interesting in this contrast, but that will be another crucial element of a marketing site, is that it's going to have analytics. So I can do A/B testing. I can do A/B testing on landing pages. You can you can actually do A/B testing on your landing pages UI only. You don't need a backend for that. A backend can help you. It can help you kind of like dynamically switch whatever's the top performing landing page, make that the default homepage. That would be a nice to have feature. So whenever we're thinking about these projects, think in incremental steps. What's your big picture? What's the minimal viable project, the little slice that I can roll out to production, start getting users to use it? The MVP here is just an email collector. So even in the MVP, I need a database. And that's the key reason that we're doing a Postgres first, Supabase first architecture here. It said Next.js is serverless, but what is serverless? Serverless is other people's servers. Serverless means it has servers, but you don't need to maintain the server. And that's really nice to get rolled out to production quickly. I can roll out to production in an hour if I want to, because Vercel is going to do the database configuration, and it has intelligent defaults. So Vercel is going to be my deployment platform. That could be true either way, by the way. I could do a React-only Vercel deployment on serverless. So both of these can deploy serverlessly. Again, React is inside of Next.js. It's not really a strict contrast. It's more like a subset. So if you are learning to code, I would say start with HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Once you understand the JavaScript DOM, the document object model, now you're ready to learn React, because React is an abstraction over the DOM. Awesome HTML-like syntax with JSX/TSX, TypeScript JSX. Abstraction over the native JS HTML DOM, document object model. Okay. So this is the cool stuff you get with React, and it's inside of Next. It's not like Next doesn't have these. Next has these because it wraps around and adds more stuff on top of. So you're going to learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Then you can learn React, probably learn TypeScript now. If not at that stage, you're going to learn TypeScript after Next.js. Then you learn Next.js. Then you can get into server side. Then you can get into database connections. And then you're full stack, and then you're ready to hit the job search. So if you're new to coding, it's really going to depend on where are you getting your education from and how much time are you spending. You can get in a situation where you can start interviewing for early career roles in a month or two. You can get there in a month or two if you have a really good curriculum and if you're going kind of high effort, large allocation of hours per week. If you take it more slowly, you could spend a whole year. You could spend a whole year onboarding to this stuff, and that's fine. Realistic time frame 6 months, I would say, to start the job search, and another 6 months to go through that job search. How about someone who works full time already? It's going to be how many hours do you allocate. So whether or not you're working full time, I like the 996 model. Even if you're working full time, it's like different people have different tolerances and different degrees of freedom in their personal life. Are you working full time with a family? You know what I mean? Or are you single? Are you also in school? So I went to school and worked at the same time, and I didn't have much time for anything else. Just me, single. Yeah, cool. That's a superpower. I'm a big fan of marriage. I'm married. I have a wonderful family. So I'm not like shaming being in a relationship. But if you're single, that gives you some free time, doesn't it? So you can spend more hours per week and you can onboard faster. You can also probably geographically relocate faster, which is a superpower on the job search, being able to relocate. So if you're working 40 hours per week, the question is how many reps in the tank do you have? How much free energy do you have? Can you do another 5, 10, 20 hours? I think more than 20 hours is pushing it for most people. There's some psychopaths out there and I love them. But most people are not going to be able to do more than 15 or 20 hours reliably. So let's assume that you're studying 10 hours per week. Then that month or two that I originally gave, multiply that by 6. Because I was kind of assuming 40 to 60 hours, like really grinding on the study. So that 1 to 2 months would become 6 to 12 months. Yeah, that passes the vibe check. So if you're doing 10 hours per week, probably 6 to 12 months seems like a realistic target. And you should check out latterly.io. Boop. Because you know how I mentioned it depends on the curriculum that you're using. Latterly has an awesome free curriculum. You go to the blog, scroll down to the very first article, Intro to Code and Building a Quality Portfolio. Thanks for the follow. Consider throwing some likes on the video so the algorithm will send it around. Thanks so much for the questions. Okay, and a bunch of this stuff is going to be related, like hook fundamentals as part of React. So you can just literally read through the blog. This is a way to get your foot in the door. And there's also a checklist. So if you go to the Grow tab and then you go to checklists, there is the standard checklist. Well, you got to log in. It's free. You can log in. And then this journal thing is really cool, but that's not what we're talking about right now. So go over to the checklists, standard checklist, and this trial by fire is going to be a key way. So this is like 15 minutes, and you can get your first project done in like 15 minutes for free. So check out that checklist and check out this video. Okay, let's get back to the task at hand. I think I already ran the create thing. Let's git push. Okay, so I did the next init, and I wanted to add prettier, npm I prettier. All right, that's just for code formatting. So we got Supabase, we got prettier. We're going to want Prisma. Maybe I should have even used the Create Prisma app, but I didn't. Oops, oh well. Prisma latest version. So this is an ORM that's going to connect Next.js to the database. Prisma 7, and I can use the @latest tag. Cool. npm I Prisma @latest. Let's do that. So we're getting the foundation of our app going. We're installing the major dependencies. The next thing I need is do I need authentication here? Not really. I don't really need an authentication system. So yeah, next auth and stuff like that, we can skip all that. Okay, so now it's time, we kind of have our basic stack defined, and it's time to bring in an AI agent to help us grind through the code. So this is Prettier, Prisma. No, I need to have a lot more dependencies. Oh, I put these in the wrong directory. Let's cancel this. Sorry, my bad. rm-rf node modules. rm package. rm just means delete, package lock JSON. So I'm deleting that stuff. I'm going to cd into the app folder. Here I'm going to npmi Prisma and Prettier. By the way, if you're watching on TikTok, you can go to the link in bio and get over to the YouTube, and you'll be able to see the screen a bit better. Okay, so you can see I've deleted out of the book marketing folder, and it's created these in book marketing /app. You see that? Book marketing /app. So we're just moving where we install this stuff, because this is the real stack that I want Codex to read about. Still got Prisma 7. That's what I'm looking for. Good. MV dependencies. All right, and now I can Codex init. Yes, allow Codex to, I want it to ask me to approve the edits and commands. We're not going to go YOLO. So it's, the agent is reading now. This is the Codex AI agent. Couldn't find agents under. I'll follow the instructions you provided here. What would you like me to initialize or do next? Scan the repo and create. Let's see, should we also update the README? Let's do one task at a time. I also wanted to update the README, but we'll do one task at a time. Okay, so it's making this file. This is the agent's file. I'll save just to run that MD format. Let's create a .vs Code extensions. That includes the Prettier and MD lint extensions. So I just formatted the agents file. I want anyone who clones this repo to be able to use the extension, which is MD, I think it's MD lint. Oh yeah, markdown. Let me get that precise name. It's this one. This is the one that I use. It's only got one review. It's kind of crazy. Yeah, it's the David Anson. David Anson. It found the right one. Good. Yes, proceed. Good, good, good. Okay. And I'll say update the README.